So tell me how you came to this story. What made you start looking into it?
This is actually something that I've been thinking about for years.
It's 7 a.m. in Hamilton. I'm on the bus to school, listening to a story about a kid just like me taking the morning bus, but instead of school, he's going to a meatpacking job. He'll go to school in the afternoon, where he sleeps all through class. His story stuck with me ever since, and there's no statistic that sums up the issue better than this one. This fact, devastating as it sounds, is misleading. These children aren't lost in the way we usually think of missing children on milk cartons. They're just missing because we've let them slip through cracks. Carolina is a 15-year-old from rural Guatemala and one of over 130,000 unaccompanied children who entered the U.S. in 2022. She's sent from a government shelter to an aunt she'd never met, then to work. By day, she's in school, and at night, until midnight, she works at Hearthside food factories packing Cheetos. Her story is one common with the missing children in my fact. Parents send them to avoid being turned away at the border, hoping for remittances, and these kids are then pushed into dangerous work, like factories, roofing, and farms, by sponsors to cover debts or to send home. The surge of unaccompanied minors at the U.S. border has pressured the Biden administration to quickly release children from government shelters, leading the Department of Health and Human Services to prioritize speed over care. In internal meetings, HHS executives have been saying, if Henry Ford had seen this in his plants, he would never have become famous and rich. So caseworkers are forced to skip or rush essential background checks and interviews, and over 33% of follow-up calls from the Office of Refugee Resettlement go unanswered. And there is no formal monitoring in place to ensure these children are safe. Reporting hotlines never call back. Even worse, companies like Ford and General Mills are complicit. They rely on staffing agencies that knowingly send children to work in these conditions, using fake IDs to skirt age restrictions. And the Department of Labor only targets these staffing agencies, which keep popping up. Existing penalties for these violations are also insufficient, and the companies keep profiting. So, what are the solutions? First, arrival. Caseworkers at the OR are overwhelmed. Reducing their ratio and providing more support would allow them to track children properly. Second, with support. When unaccompanied minors in Texas and California were connected to nonprofit services within 60 days release, cases of missing children dropped by 50%. Children should be swiftly referred to organizations offering housing, legal aid, and vocational help, with improved tracking via mobile apps or text to keep them in contact with caseworkers. And third, work. We need legal pathways for safe employment with children. Programs like Canada's Caregiver Program transitioned 5,700 caregivers to permanent residency, and that shows that legal status can protect and provide opportunities. Solutions must directly address the root causes that push migrant children into exploitative labor: poverty, lack of education, and legal barriers. And now that America is entering a new Trump era with mass deportation and family separation, this issue can only get worse. And if we don't change how we treat these kids, they're going to remain on the morning bus to the industrial district.